Hey, thanks for joining. I was reading in John chapter 8 today, and I was studying the Bible, and it's the scripture, and you might remember this, but this is the scripture where the Pharisees and the scribes bring this woman before Jesus and ask him what to do with her because they caught her in the act. They caught her in the act of adultery. And they go on to tell Jesus that it is written in the scripture, back, I guess Moses had written it, that she should be stoned to death for this act, this adulterous act. And Jesus bends down and he's writing something in the sand. And I'll have to go back and study what he was actually writing, and maybe you could go and look at that as well. But he said, "Ye without sin cast the first stone." And as he rose from being knelt down, when he rose, he didn't see anyone. The Pharisees and the scribes were gone. The only one still standing there was the woman. And he asked the woman, he said, "Where are your accusers?" And she said, "They've left. They're gone." And Jesus said, "I have no fault with you. And go and sin no more." Basically, he was telling her, "I forgive you. And I'm not going to stone you to death." But the part I think we often forget is that last part. He said, "Go and sin no more." I know myself, I always grew up loving that scripture because I would always feel like, "You without sin cast the first stone. You're no perfect person either." And I would always hide behind that and run with that because that was like ammunition for me. Like, yeah. Even Jesus said, "You without sin cast the first stone," and they all left. And I really ran with that. And then as I was studying in the scripture today, the part that stood out to me, which is another example of how the Bible always speaks to you differently, but the last part, "Go and sin no more." I can ask God to forgive me, and I can beg Jesus for forgiveness and mercy and grace and help me, and I've done something terrible, and please forgive me, forgive me, forgive me. And he will, if I'm humbly asking him. But the last part, I can't forget either, which is now that I've been forgiven, I need to go and sin no more.